As the now standard garment of women and men everywhere, it's difficult to imagine trousers being at all controversial. Worn by Hollywood film stars and designers alike, and yet rationalised by many as unnatural and untowardly masculine, it wasn't until the demands of wartime life necessitated practical clothing choices that trousers garnered acceptance into the everyday wardrobe. The wearing of trousers was, however, governed by sartorial rules. In November 1941, Picture Post returned to the question of whether women should wear trousers, concluding that the question is not so much should women wear trousers, the answer being yes, but when, where and how. As daily life became permanently altered by the Blitz, the question was necessarily posed: how can a woman even sleep decently in a shelter and a skirt? Initially the premise of the young, the practicality of trousers was soon noted across differing levels of society. An account from teacher Phyllis Warner notes an 80-year-old grandmother after her first air raid shelter experience, refusing to enter another again without trousers. Trousers' previous use as sports and leisure wear also continued, a pursuit ever more important given the stresses of women's increased responsibility on the home front. This wartime need for a home front workforce led to an increase in women in traditionally almost exclusively male jobs, and subsequently a rise in the wearing of trousers. One such woman was Zelma Catton, a 40-year-old married housewife who had welcomed the opportunity of wartime employment. Given the choice of work in a factory or as a tram conductor, she had chosen the latter. On securing the job, she was sent to the tailor's to be measured for her uniform, comprised of a jacket and a skirt, trousers and an overcoat. She considered the experience the most exciting part of her induction, noting the profound effect on psychology uniform plays. Indeed, with around 15 million people entitled to wear some form of uniform in Britain alone, the rise of uniform ushered in greater wearing of trousers. The Wrens, whose uniform was particularly coveted, introduced trousers to their wares in 1941. Around this date, some Wrens began to serve as boat's crew, manning a small craft and thus requiring clothing far more practical than a skirt. Miss Batstone, who wrote to her family in Surrey during her service as a visual signaller between 1943 and 45, detailed how flabbergasted she was to have been given sailors' bell-bottoms to wear. Though adopted into the workwear wardrobe, trousers were initially met by the fashion world with similar contempt.
It was not the thing for women to wear trousers.
In December 1939, Vogue was especially critical. We deplore the crop of young women who take war as an excuse for parading around in slacks. Journalist Anne Scott James similarly concluded that trousers should be worn when they look natural, in the garden, in the garage, in the country, in your home or on the job, and certainly not in West End restaurants, where they presented what she considered an incongruous sight. Cartoons such as those of Edward Ardisoni's mocked women who wore trousers, a stance forwarded in that 48% of those polled in March 1940 expressed disapproval of women wearing trousers in public. But by the following April, practicality had taken the place of any sentimentality for pre-war dress. Vogue's publication of a model in fawn trousers confirmed that slacks were becoming a fashionable choice for women. The editor encouraged the wearing of trousers outside the confines of the home or workplace, suggesting that the modern woman should wear slacks practically the whole time, unless, of course, she was the guest of an Edwardian relic with reactionary views.